Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
We think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to RadioAMB, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Schmucker, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist who's been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. RadioAMB stands for American-Made Beauty, and it's where we tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Our program sponsor today is Alex & Tay Custom Nail Color. Personalization in beauty has arrived, and it's really easy to do. Download an app, snap a picture, tap a color, name your bottle, and order your polish. You aren't limited to hundreds of colors. This truly personalized custom nail brand brings you millions of color options at your fingertips. Do you own a brand that nail color could be a great line extension? Or do you have a cause that needs fundraising? Alex & Tay is a great solution. You can learn more about Alex & Tay on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. My guest today is a returning guest, and I always love returning guests because they're people that I'm comfortable with, and I know that they are really adding value in the marketplace. Beauty Matters has become an industry place of reference where anyone who really wants to tap into the intelligence that's going on in the industry, they know this source of information and know my guest very well. A beauty industry veteran with a track record of success, Kelly Kovack is an original member of the Bliss executive team and was pivotal in laying the groundwork leading to LVMH's acquisition of the brand. Kelly has worked as an advisor and a strategist with emerging and established brands, including Mattel, Old Navy, Banana Republic, Dr. Dennis Gross Skincare, and Carol's Daughter, So Cozy, Allworks, among many others. She was co-founder of Rescue Beauty Lounge and is currently the CEO and editor-in-chief of Beauty Matter. And co-founder of the award-winning niche fragrance brand, Odin New York. She is a thought leader in the beauty category, featured in the press, speaking globally at conferences, and contributing editor. Welcome, Kelly. I'm delighted to have you with us again.
Thanks, Patty.
So for those who haven't had the opportunity to listen to the show that we've done in the past, let's start out by just taking a couple of minutes to talk about what is Beauty Matter and what do you do?
Sure. So Beauty Matter has two parts to it. One is the editorial side. So we're focused on B2B content for the beauty industry. It's both a place for aggregated content and original content. And we throw sort of a wider net to what is relevant to beauty brands. So we're also looking at financial resources, design, futurologists, adjacent categories like food and beverage. So we really sort of look at sort of anywhere where people are doing interesting things in business and try and tie it back to beauty to just sort of provide a bit of a different perspective. The other side of the business, obviously, is, well, maybe not obviously, but it's a consultancy practice. So I have been consulting startup brands and established brands for probably the majority of my career, and I still do that. So
Great.
Those are the two parts of the business.
And so part of the fascination that I think I have with Kelly is that, we're two minds that are working and doing this consulting work and bringing brands to market and helping them fine-tune their messages. So we're constantly reading and digesting information. Kelly, tell us a little bit about some of the trends that are particularly capturing your attention right now.
So one of the interesting trends that has started bubbling up pretty fast is J-Beauty. So we've been hearing sort of nonstop about K-Beauty, and we have seen Korean beauty kind of infiltrate the beauty category almost at all distribution points. So everything from CVS all the way up to Neiman Marcus. So everyone is sort of playing in the K-beauty landscape, if you will. But the interesting thing about K-beauty is it almost has sort of this like fast fashion, fast beauty sensibility about it. So there's lots of really fun packaging and really sort of out there ingredients. But there aren't very many brands that are recognizable that have really sort of emerged out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting because the category.
The J-beauty trend, and I don't know if it's even necessarily a trend. I mean, the Japanese have been so innovative when it comes to skincare, and when I started in the industry, it was really all about Japanese innovation, and it's almost the complete opposite to sort of what we are seeing in the industry, sort of the speed to market, fast direct-to-consumer brands. There is, with Japanese beauty, a real sort of almost slowness to it, and it's really grounded in culture and technology and history. So it's just, I find it interesting because it's sort of a new sensibility that is kind of coming to the forefront. That's really about sort of the craft. So you're seeing these beautiful handmade makeup brushes. I'm really focusing on not sort of the speed and the next thing to market, but creating something of beauty that works, that's here for sort of the long haul.
Right, right. And so you mentioned the whole idea that the K-beauty category, while it has really been dominant in the landscape, it's really, there's not been any single brand that has emerged out of it, and it really focused on this quick, fast to market, constantly new things coming out?
That is sort of my takeaway. I mean, you have Dr. Jart that's done amazing at Sephora. You have Tony Moly, which I think is much more known for the individual face masks or the packaging. And I read recently that that's not even a brand in Korea that is taken seriously, yet here in America it's a huge thing. And then, of course, you have Amore Pacific, which is sort of a more traditional brand. But I would have expected for a trend that has sort of gone on for so long and has really gone from a trend to a category, that more brands would have emerged out of it.
Right.
I think there have been brands on the American side sort of making sense of the category, like Peaches and Lily and Sopo Glam, but they're American brands that are leveraging, they're Korean American, so they're sort of leveraging their connection to Korea, but they're not sort of K-beauty brands coming out of Korea.
Right, right. And so what do you think are some of the indications that speak to you from this emerging of the J-beauty?
Well, some of the indications have been, I mean, it came up on a number of sort of obscure trend lists from last year for 2018. And I've also seen just more Japanese beauty brands getting noticed in the press.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say in the last 30 to 60 days, if you Google J Beauty, you'll just get listing after listing after listing of things that have been written about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting traction quite quickly, actually.
Right. And do you think that it speaks to some of the things that are happening in America, that there's more of an interest in the Japanese culture and perhaps more specifically something that is more heavily steeped in tradition and, growing carefully and slowly?
I do. I think that we're at a period in time where, obviously we're inundated with information. I think that goes without saying. But our lives are almost pulled in these diametrically opposed directions. So, on the one hand, we live these super connected lives, especially if you're in a city. And on the other hand, we crave we spend money to be disconnected on, meditation studios and yoga. So we sort of live these lives that are at odds with each other. And I think the interesting thing about the Japanese culture is that it is very grounded in mindfulness and wellness. So I think it's very much in tune with what's going on in the evolution of natural beauty or clean beauty or green beauty. So I think there's a sort of a similarity there. And I do think it's very much in line with the sensibilities of sort of what we're seeing going on in the growth of the wellness category and the merging of wellness with beauty. But it's not to say that these Japanese brands are not sort of fun and have all of those sort of marketing levers that K-Beauty do. Some of the color lines definitely have that, but they don't have sort of that fast beauty sensibility. I know I keep saying that, but it's sort of like this constant turning over of newness. Mm-hmm. If it's a color brand, it's sort of the cadence of launches seems to be sort of more manageable or realistic.
And what do you think, this whole breakneck speed of new products being launched, is that, how do you think that that's sustainable, and how do you see the consumer responding to that constant newness in terms of brands?
On one hand, I think we're now going through what the fashion industry went through. Mm-hmm. And, now you're seeing the fashion industry really taking a look at what the costs are from a supply chain perspective, to get that $2 T-shirt into the store. And they're significant. So, while on the one hand you have a call to sustainability and transparency and sort of cleaner formulations, on the other hand you have this crazy breakneck product launch schedule, which anyone who works in the industry knows that, to be on a 6 to 9 week launch is, it's insane.
Right.
So, either it's just sort of private label, so you're really talking about packaging, or people are taking shortcuts in launching, and we've seen some of that with recalls on products. So I don't think it's sustainable. I think customers seem to want it, but they also seem to want that newness combined with really inexpensive pricing, which makes it even more difficult. So I think you see a lot of this sort of fast beauty happening in direct-to-consumer brands that have a sort of vertical integration, so it does make it a little bit easier. But, there are all these direct-to-consumer brands launching now, many of them in the color cosmetic category, and you kind of have to wonder, how many of these brands can actually sort of continue in business, because it's that kind of rapid product development is costly.
Right, right. So is
just chasing numbers for revenue because, they're sort of looking for a sale, or is this really their business plan?
Right.
And if it's really their business plan, I think it's incredibly difficult to sustain.
Right, right. And so as we go back to that, conversation about the influence of the K beauty and the J beauty, when you're looking at consulting with a client, in the whole category of influences, where do you think the whole Asian market is, and how American consumers are receiving? Is it Asia in general? Would a company that was launching in the United States from, say, China have would this be a time where there would be great receptivity to something like that?
It's funny that you say that, because I just read an article in Australian Vogue today about Chinese beauty brands, and they named 5 Chinese beauty brands that should be on everyone's radar.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't really see that happening yet. I think that I think American consumers are still sort of hesitant around sort of Chinese brands. Although, a lot of the lower price cosmetics are made in China. But,
right.
I think what is interesting, and we're seeing it more, I think, in skincare, is traditional Chinese medicine finding its way into the mainstream of wellness and even skincare. So, you can't keep jade rollers in stock, which comes from traditional Chinese medicine. So maybe we're not ready for brands from China, but we're definitely incorporating modalities.
And what do you think are the aspects of a Chinese brand that will give American consumers a reason for pause?
I don't know. I think it is. It always comes down to sort of the quality of the manufacturing and the lack of transparency, or perceived lack of transparency.
Yes, and so is there when you're working? So if you were working with a brand like that, what would you advise them in terms of the ways to overcome that perception?
I think. Well, that's kind of a big question, but I think you'd have to find something, something to ground the brand in familiarity, and I think there is respect for traditional Chinese medicine. So if you're a skincare brand and there's a way to sort of tap into those modalities, or sort of from an ingredient perspective, because that also sort of ties into wellness, would be an easy way to sort of bridge the gap, if you would. If there was a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine that was the founder, that could be another way to make the connection. But I think it would be difficult without having one of those connections that is sort of accepted. I think it'd be a difficult path right now. Right.
But and I ask, and I know that's a tough question, but I think I ask it of you because it demonstrates that there is an intentional thinking, and tying it back to what you were saying earlier about what is the sustainability of this fast to market. What are the implications around that? And what I just heard you talk about is really being able to think through and have intentional strategies to be able to be effective in the market today. And oftentimes, do you find that that's hard to get brands to think intentionally?
I don't know that it's hard to get brands to think intentionally. I think I think the big challenge has really become that people don't really think or plan from a long-term perspective anymore. Everything is sort of like these very, very short-term planning or short-term goals, and I don't know whether that is because of the current retail environment, whether it's sort of this race to sort of scale fast enough to sell, because the M&A environment has sort of been on fire for the past few years. So I don't know that I have met anyone, maybe I've met a handful of people that have built brands just because they want to run a nice business. Mm-hmm. Where 20 years ago, people didn't talk about exit strategies the way they do.
Right.
I meet so many people who have an exit strategy before they have a brand name. So I think it's not being intentional, but being sort of very short term in thinking. Can be a real challenge for brands.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some examples of brands that really have been long-term in some of their strategies. So stay with us as we have this opportunity to pick the brain of one of our industry's true thought leaders, Kelly Kovack of BeautyMatter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need, from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm Patty Schmucker, and I have the opportunity today to bring to you the CEO and Editor-in-Chief of BeautyMatter, and co-founder of the award-winning niche fragrance brand Odin New York, Kelly Kovack. And Kelly, we've been talking about some of the trends that you're seeing in the marketplace today, and we left off specifically about the idea that 20 years ago brands started with the idea of being able to create a future, whereas today there are a lot of people entering the marketplace and thinking about their exit strategy, and it's affecting some of the intention that companies have around their brands. Tell us, is there a particular brand that stands out in your mind as one that's really been built with more of a long-term strategy?
Sure. I think Glossier is a really interesting brand. I think it was when you talk about intentions, it was really done in kind of a thoughtful way, and even though it's sort of blown up very quickly, there were sort of intentional steps that got it to where it is, I think.
And before you go any further, tell our audience what is Glossier in case they don't know.
So Glossier, I think the best way for me to describe Glossier, I kind of feel like Glossier is the bliss of the millennial girl today.
Okay.
So Emily Weiss is sort of this millennial beauty guru. She worked in publishing at Vogue, then started a blog called Into the Gloss,
mm-hmm.
and then from Into the Gloss launched a couple products and called them Glossier.
Okay.
So everything is in sort of millennial pink. It's really girly. It has, in a good way and in an empowering way,
mm-hmm.
It sort of has this feeling of someone you'd want to be friends with. It's very conversational. The products are all crowdsourced. They kind of checked all the boxes. They're a direct-to-consumer brand, but they launched a product already having a very sizable database to sell to. So a lot of brands get themselves in trouble because they build these beautiful brands and they build tons of inventory and they don't know where they're going to sell it.
Right.
It gets people in trouble all the time.
Uh-huh.
And so what I thought was so smart about what Emily did was she had this dedicated, loyal group of readers. So, she had day one somewhere to sell these products.
Right.
Which is so smart. Even direct-to-consumer brands, the cost of acquisition of consumers it's really expensive.
Right.
So to have that built-in consumer base really set a really strong foundation. And she then opened sort of a showroom, and it's all been about the customers.
Mm-hmm.
The consumer has been front and center, and the brand evolves as sort of opportunities evolve, which is sort of how it seems to be, how it seems to have been built to me, although she has raised a significant amount of money to make that happen quickly. But it really has become sort of, the skincare brand for millennials.
Right. And do you think that the connection that she had in terms of a two-way dialogue with her consumer also has helped to sort of indicate the direction of the company and made it easier for her to respond to the consumer's needs?
For sure. But I think even beyond that,
mm-hmm.
I think she is her consumer.
Right. Okay. Right.
So
right.
When you have a founder that is kind of speaking to themselves, it feels natural.
Right.
There are a lot of brands that are trying to market to millennials, and they just feel slightly off. Where this is like, they speak fluent millennial.
Right.
There's a strong visual vocabulary to the brand. There's a sort of a a calculated imperfection to it. It's really approachable. So she is her consumer. So I would have to guess that the marketing comes pretty natural.
Right. And so as a direct-to-consumer brand, obviously the technology has played a major role here. Obviously it was one of the reasons why the pathway was easier. How have they used technology to achieve some of their goals?
Well, I mean, I think this is one of those brands where the technology lives in the background. So obviously they're using technology, to work efficiently in crowdsourcing information. I've heard that they have a Slack set up just for customers or their brand advocates. So I think they use technology in the running of their business, but they're not leveraging technology on the front end of the brand, if that makes sense.
Right.
So they're not customizing anything. It's not customized beauty. They don't have they're not playing in artificial intelligence or virtual reality. The technology they're using is to run their business. I would imagine. I don't know what it is, but they're sort of firing on all cylinders when it comes to email communication and social media and influencers, and they've also started out a direct selling sort of Glossier Avon girls, if you will. So all of that requires technology, but it's on the back end.
Right.
So it's not one of those brands that you would immediately say, they're leveraging technology, but obviously they must be.
Right, exactly. And is there some brands that stand out to you right now that are doing some interesting things with regards to technology?
Yeah, there's a new brand that's just launched in the professional space. It's not been out that long. It's called Pros. And it's interesting for a number of reasons. I think the professional channel has been really challenged. Many say that it's dead or broken. I don't think it is, but it definitely has some issues. The professional channel has been so consolidated, and it's all about diversion and promotion, and it's not really about the art of sort of hairstyling anymore or coloring. So what Pros is doing is they're going direct to salons and stylists, so they're sort of bypassing the distribution piece of it, which has created a lot of the issues. And they're offering them customization of products. And they're selling through an app. So, salons don't have to inventory thousands and thousands of dollars worth of products. And individual stylists can service their clients if they're in sort of a loft setting or renting a chair. They can also still sort of make that incremental income through selling products because it's sold off of an app. Right.
Absolutely. It's a decentralized distribution, and what kills me is that there are the distribution of machine in the professional beauty just doesn't want to accept that their model of doing business is dead. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the human connection in beauty and the lens that social media is giving thought leaders within the beauty space. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. it's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. This is Patty Schmucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. And I'm just having a ball here with my friend Kelly Kovack that we very seldom get a chance to see each other person to person. So when I get a chance to have a conversation with her, I'm just thrilled. Kelly is the CEO and editor-in-chief at Beauty Matters, and we've been talking about insights that are that we're having with regards to the industry and watching brands come to market and things that are working and that it's not working. Kelly, let's talk a little bit about the human connection of beauty. How does that play in what's going on in the market today?
Well, I mean, I think what has happened is, consumers really control brands today. So, you can't, as a brand, sit back and sort of control your message. You don't have a choice but to if you're going to be successful, to engage with consumers. But I think the engagement with consumers and the consumers' ownership of brands is one thing. But I also think that beauty, by its very nature, is a high-touch category. And while we've all been really enamored with all the technology that's being applied to the beauty category, the bulk of the sales still come at retail. And at retail, that person on the retail floor is the face of the brand for that day, in that moment, for that consumer. And I think we've forgotten the importance of that piece. And a lot of retailers that are not succeeding have treated that human piece as purely transactional. Where before, that was where women went to get information. And even though consumers today are probably more educated on what the particular item is they're looking for than perhaps someone on the retail floor, that point of connection is really important, not only to the consumer but to the brand, because that is sort of a real-world connection where you're making an impression on a consumer, either good or bad. And a lot of brands talk about and spend a lot of time communicating with consumers on social media, which is absolutely fantastic, and they should. But I was speaking to the Chief Creative Officer at Urban Decay, doing an interview for Counterintelligence, which is a trade publication, a new trade publication for retail talent. And we were talking specifically about this, and Wendy said, yes, social media is really important, but I still want to know what's happening on the retail floor. I want to know about the conversations that my beauty advisors are having with consumers. And I found that, really refreshing because, I often think that they've sort of been left out of the equation in many instances. But I think it is really important because I think that's where you get the real information. So on social media or by email, I think we all live these kind of curated lives on social media.
Right.
And we are this sort of personality that we want to be, or we feel like we should be. Or through email, there's sort of a lack of a filter. And sometimes you just sort of, behave in ways that you would not if you were actually face-to-face with someone. So I actually think that those conversations that happen in person, are some of the most meaningful ones. And I found it really amazing that is still part of her day, is to talk to or get information from the retail floor.
And yet, it's going back to what we were talking about before in terms of in the professional beauty market, the distribution model where manufacturers sell their product to a distributor who sells their product to a salon or retailer who sells the product to the consumer, that model is dead. But you're saying that the whole idea of having a physical retail store where consumers can come in and touch, feel, and interact with a qualified human being that can be the brand in that moment is still critical to beauty. So how do you see the new model of product getting from manufacturer to that retail counter?
Well, I think it's I think the professional market is very different than sort of the traditional beauty market. But I really think that what we're going to see in retail is that there's going to be technology that operates, like invisible technology that operates at retail, which actually frees up retail talent's time to actually do what they're intended to do, which is to create an experience for that consumer. Not to chase stock around, not to sort of be transactional, but to really create experiences.
Right.
So, Farfetch did a retail, they called it a retail store of the future in London last year, and it was based on that. It was for fashion, but everything was connected, so it freed up the salespeople to focus only on the customer and their needs. So, when we talk about what is working at retail, the retailers that are doing really well are the ones that are creating experiences. And experiences can be as simple as, a really dedicated, meaningful staff that has the time to actually answer your questions. It can be as simple as that to, kind of what Sephora's doing, where they're brilliant at integrating technology and kind of guiding you through each step. So, they're involved in the pre-purchase, they're involved in the purchase, and then they're following up with you. And some of that is online, and some of that is by apps, and some of that is in store with human interaction. So I think we're going to see this integration of technology to really help retail deliver on experiences
right.
in a way that's meaningful and not gimmicky.
Right. All right, great. Well, we're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about a consumer segment that's really being underserved at this point, and if we have time, we'll touch one of Kelly's best subjects, and that's capital raising. So stay with us. We will be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap state. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Hey, thanks for staying with us as we come into our last segment of really one of very entertaining event shows that I think I have the opportunity to have Kelly Kovack, the CEO and editor-in-chief of Beauty Matters, with us today. Kelly, we've been talking about the way the market is changing and the millennials. We always in beauty talk about millennials and how brands are trying to speak more to millennials. Tell us a little bit about consumer segments that you feel are being underserved at this point.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, I guess, is looking to the future and thinking they need to figure out these millennial creatures and Gen Z following them. But, there's a huge demographic that is not being served. And I guess I'm a little bit more tuned into it because I'm fast approaching it. But that's it's women over 50.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even say women over 40.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically women over 50, or not just women, but people over 50 control 70% of disposable income in America, which represents $3 trillion.
Uh-huh.
So, like, in this moment, the over 50 crowd is still a very meaningful segment of the population. And, you know, we've sort of started talking about it. You know, Allure made sort of the sweeping statement that they weren't going to use the term anti-aging anymore, and there are some brands that have used sort of older models. You know, Linda Rodin, when she was running her brand, Rodin was sort of the poster child for what sort of embracing aging could look like, and was really inspirational. And I kind of feel like the fashion has sort of is faster to integrate and speak to this demographic than the beauty industry has. We're still very much stuck in, when you're talking about sort of the face of a brand, if you will, if you're still hiring a face of the brand, you still have 20-somethings selling anti-aging skincare.
Right.
And I think that the 50-year-old of today is very different than they were 10, definitely 20 years ago. You know, I don't really, when I'm working with a client and we're doing sort of an exercise in figuring out who their consumers are, I don't really like to narrow demographics because I think today people fall into psychographics much more than they do demographics. So, you know, I think we have to get away from that sort of very traditional demographic marketing and really look at, you know, who our consumers are.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's a new media company that just launched. It's called The Ageist, and they're calling themselves the Anti-AARP Media Company.
And they're called The Ageist?
So they just launched a couple weeks ago. But there's a huge opportunity for brands that sort of actually take a look at sort of this, you know, middle age, if you will, time of your life, and really speaking to it in a modern way that doesn't feel antiquated. I mean, it all feels very antiquated now.
Right, and it's funny because you just mentioned AARP, but I was having a conversation just this weekend with a media person. He was saying, you know, by virtue of their name, AARP will never be able to rebrand themselves. You know, so there's an opportunity. I'm 60, and I love the fact that I'm 60. I love that the way I'm living my life. I look at the idea that I still have at least another 40 to 50 years ahead of me, and that's not the way my mother or her mother at 60 felt. And so being able to speak to that particular market, I think there's just tremendous opportunity, and hope to see more of that happening. Yeah, absolutely. And so as we look at opportunities like that, I mean, that's part of the reason I'm so excited about our industry at this point, is because I think by virtue of these underserved marketplaces, by virtue of what we know about the human body, what we know about chemistry and the efficacy of ingredients, it is absolutely one of the most exciting times for innovations in beauty. And yet I think that I continuously see one of the major problems for new and emerging brands is being able to raise capital. And we've only got a few minutes left in this show. If you could touch on what are some of the most important things brands need to consider in terms of being viable for finding capital for new innovative ideas.
Yeah, you know, it is a challenge because, you know, beauty is a really competitive category. I think that there's sort of this misnomer out there that if you can raise money, on just an idea. And it's not to say that, you know, with the right team, that's not possible. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if you're going to sort of launch a beauty brand, you either need to sort of self-finance it to sort of some sort of proof of concept, or do a first round of friends and family before you're even ready to consider going out and getting money in sort of the traditional ways.
And when you say proof of concept, what kind of dollar revenue does a brand need to have in order for the market to consider it to be a proven concept?
Well, I think it depends on where you're looking to get money from. But I don't think the specific dollar amount is such an issue anymore, because there are brands that, if the right things happen, scale really fast. So I think people in the financial circles definitely have their eye on smaller brands to see how they're kind of coming together. So I think it's a matter of having, when you're going out to raise money, is having a really solid plan of what your plan for the business is. So product innovation, your product pipeline, you need to make sure that you have a solid sort of operational infrastructure, that if you do scale, that you have the wherewithal to actually scale. And management. So you need to have your house in order before you go try and raise money.
Right. And that takes planning, and why people like you and I are so incredibly important to these brands. You've got to be, I continue to quote Harlan Kirshner. He was on our show, and he said, money is good, but smarts is better. So you've got to have your house in order. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Kelly, thank you. Thanks for sharing your insights. It's always wonderful on a personal level to share time with you, but from a business level, you're brilliant, and we really appreciate all of the things that you're doing in beauty.
Thank you, Patty, for having me.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up today, and next week, join us and listen in as we interview Sean Stevenson from Alex & Tay and learn some of the secrets behind one of the digital technology brands in beauty. Join us next week. I'm Patty Schmucker. Thank you for listening to Radio AMB, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.